just bring Anna up so I can look at Anna in the background. Hero gallery. Anna. And I think I've had this skin on long enough. Cataclysm. Oh.
As a scrubby bronze support scrub, today's coaching was great to see. Maybe someday I will be the cool dude / grandma. Cheers.
You'll be the cool dude in no time. Let me get the good skin back on. There we go. Instead of being forced into that horrible thing. No longer. We're free. Have it with the tea. I hope it was useful, Cataclysm. I have no idea how useful that was. I have no idea, like, was it too basic? Is it not basic enough? I don't know. Anyway, we've got a shitload of questions. Chips. Yeah, Chips Hyan. If you get a chance to watch Chips Hyan, watch him as well. He's one of the best supports in the world. Mod me, please. I'm needy. No, Ryan. Last time I gave you mod, you asked to be demodded. So, no. You're high maintenance. That's your problem, Ryan. When not to use Anna? It's actually interesting. Can I actually find this info? If someone has it on hand, it would be really nice. There was a website that had like graphs of hero across rank. Master Overwatch might have it, but this is just a really nice graph that showed the hero usage, basically based on every rank. So it showed you the percentage of people playing that hero at each rank. And it was really funny looking at Anna and Mercy, because Anna's graph was like this. So there's going to be 5 things. My head is in the way. Let's get rid of that. Do it up here. And there were 5 bars, right? And it was like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and then it was like master and grandmaster. We're very close to each other. Right? And it looked like this. Okay? It was like a perfect staircase. The higher you went, the more and more you saw Anna getting picked. Just ignore the lines because they're terrible. And Mercy was literally like bronze, silver, gold, plat, and then I think it went like diamond, and then I think it sort of evened out by master and then grandmaster. I think it actually might peak over here as well, because like the Mercy mains tend to end up about here by and large. And so there was like an odd peak on it, but it was basically a staircase going one way and a staircase going the other. Anna is Anna is a hero that requires some skill to execute, right? If you cannot hit targets, you won't be able to heal people as Anna. The person we were watching today didn't seem to have that many issues hitting targets. Like when you watch them when they're actually firing at stuff, the heals are landing. And the positioning, like, takes them a moment to sort of consider it, and it might not be the first FPS, it might be, you know, there might be an experience at FPS, it might be an experience at Overwatch, whatever, there's a million reasons, but you generally see a sort of a delay and then a reposition happening to a better location, and then the heals start coming out again. It's just like making that more fluid and making that more proactive so that you have as little downtime as possible. Zalve mostly plays Anna on stream. I think Duck plays Anna on stream. Or am I completely grossly misremembering? No, Duck, is Duck Lucio? I don't know. That's why I hate naming pros, because I'm bad at names and I just call the wrong name and then people think I'm an idiot. I think this person can rank out of bronze. Yeah, I think they can as well. They just got to be a little bit more proactive and just go with that. Would you suggest that Anna is spot on Numbani point 1 for Zenyatta as well, or is it specifically best for Anna? It's good for Zen, because you can, like, Zen... If you think about Zen's effective range, Zenyatta is just as effective when he's 2 feet away as he is 100 feet away. As long as you can apply his orbs, he's still effective. So, as long as you are a safe distance away, there's no advantage to being close at all. So, being across there means that it's harder for them to dive you. You can still apply your orbs to stuff. You can still get good line of sight on stuff, and so it's just very, very strong. It also gives you the nice advantage where you can have a similar problem to Anna, where pretend this is a front-on view. Okay, the doorway's over here, so this is the door, and then there's like a wall here, and then you'll have like the archway over here. And you got like, your Reinhardt is usually stood in front of the door. And then there's like a Zarya stood over here. And then there's a soldier stood here. And if you want to put a healing orb on the Reinhardt, you can't do it, right? Because I know it doesn't show up that well, but you get the idea. There's people in front of people in front of people. It's very hard to get through all that. That's bullshit. Well, if you're on the opposite side, your view is more like this, right? You have like the wall bit here that inevitably blocks all your line of sight. There's the doorway over here. And then you got like the balcony edge over this way. And then all this bit down here. And usually you get a line of sight like this, where the Reinhardt is over here. I should not use yellow for this, let's use blue. The Reinhardt is over here, blocking stuff. And then the Zarya is here. and Soldier 76 is here, suddenly it's easy. Suddenly, and no one is ever going to go stand behind this or like the big poster thing over here. No one's going to do that. Why would they do that? That would be stupid if they did that. They inevitably all end up standing behind this pillar. Inevitably. It happens, trust me. But it gives you that advantage as well. We don't have people blocking each other. It's a really good place to start off. If they start diving you aggressively, then you might want to consider tucking in. Be very careful as well about moving into the tunnel in the back, because if they get in there, you have no escape. You have no way out, so it's very dangerous. I think dropping down is usually safer in my mind, just because you can get to more of your team. How important would you say it is to practice off-scope shooting with Ana over medium to long, not extreme range? I often find myself scoping in a bit more often, especially when healing smaller targets. It depends on how much the target needs it. Like, if the Genji's just 3 miles away, then taking a couple of pot shots at him isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you're slowing down your own repositioning when scoping, and you are endangering yourself a little bit because you're slower and you can't do quite as much, and you're also revealing your location a bit more. So if Genji's like bouncing around with this, it's like let's use this map in the background actually. Can I actually Alt Z and will Ana disappear? Ana's still there. Whatever. So Genji's over here, right, and he's bouncing around. Just firing a shot or two, like here, isn't necessarily a bad thing where you might be able to catch him. But if he's in combat, I would absolutely, if I was Iana stood here, I would absolutely be scoping in and pushing out this way near the road. Just don't step into the road, for the love of God. The reason why I'm scoping in is because that Genji needs healing. He literally, I need healing, because if he's being healed, he can fight longer, he can do more, and you don't want to risk missing at an important moment like that, because if you miss and he dies, then you've given up an advantage that you might have otherwise still had. Best, worst Nanoboost targets? Best is just people who can do things, like people who can actually hit things and get stuff done. And so and hit things reliably as well is also a big thing. So in general, I say the best targets are going to be, of course, the classics. The Nanoboost is Soldier 76, because he deals damage across pretty much every bit of range you can imagine. He's got Nano Visor, so he can hit things reliably, and he's just going to kill everything. He's very mobile as well. He has no issue getting in and out of positions. He's relatively safe because he can heal himself. He's very, very strong. Nanoblade is another one because he can just one-shot heroes if he gets his dash and slash. Okay, it's technically a two-shot, but you get the idea, and then he resets and just kills everyone. Very, very effective. He's good at hunting down mercies. He's flexible. He can go and kill things. Heroes that are bad are stuff that is easy to dodge, or easy to juke, or easy to shut down. So, for example, Reinhardt is a classic example of this, where if your team is trying to push through a choke point, you got your Reinhardt with his barrier up, and you're pushing through, and you put a Nanoboost on the Reinhardt is just gonna go, why did you do that? Because now he has to make a decision between actually using the Nanoboost, or dropping his barrier, or keeping his barrier up. And if he drops his barrier and the team dies, who do you think gets shat on? It's the Reinhardt. So it's like, you just put him in a really stupid position, and then he doesn't want the Ana getting angry at him, going, why the fuck didn't you do anything with that? Because then it's just, ugh. And so the Reinhardt feels obligated to try and do something, and does something stupid like charge, and then ends up getting slept, and then dies, and then bad, sad, bad, frown town. So yeah, don't Nanoboost Reinhardts unless it's a very specific instance of like they are jumping onto the point to contest it in the last seconds, or everyone is in a tiny room, or already knocked down, or already trapped in a blizzard, or something like that where they can't get away. You can do it as well if you have a Lucio. They do not have a Lucio, and your team is coordinated, because the Lucio can speed boost the Reinhardt into position to get some kills. I'd say that Winston is still the better choice, because Winston can do damage and tank at the same time, which works wonderfully. Other bad targets, Tracer, which sounds weird because you think that Tracer will be able to do a lot with a Nanoboost, but she really can't. The damage increase doesn't help her as much as you'd expect. It's strange. She just doesn't do much with it. And what ends up happening is she just usually ends up dying. Even with a 50% damage reduction, the health pool she has is not enough to justify using it on her. It's weird. Do not Nanoboost Widowmaker, pretty much ever. It's no point. She takes 2 shots to kill people. Normally, she'll take 2 shots to kill people with Nanoboost, unless she headshots, in which case she one-shots people with Nanoboost and without Nanoboost. What are you changing? Absolutely fucking nothing. Don't do it. Roadhog is another one that's a bit iffy. If you have a barrier, like a Reinhardt in front of the Roadhog, and he's using Whole Hog, Nanoboost him. because that means that you won't get slapped, you won't get countered, you won't get stopped. But what usually happens is Roadhog will whole hog and then gets shut down. If you have no way to block the shutdown, whether it's an Earth Shadow, whether it's a sleep, it's usually a bit dicey. Avoid nano boosting Roadhogs without ultimate as well, just because his damage isn't reliable enough. And again, you're not changing the fact that if he hooks someone, he's going to kill them pretty much regardless. He's slightly better at tank busting, and in a small environment, you might be able to get away with it, but it's very case by case when you're getting to that. In general rule of thumb, there's better targets for it. Just starting to learn Ana, and then at 1900 SR, how do you prioritize healing targets? Tank DPS first. If like everyone's low in the middle of a fight, tanks are generally first. I mean, you want to triage, so triage as best you can. If people are getting sub 50, you've got to heal them up, because otherwise they're just going to get one shot. And I'd say even like sub 100, try and get everyone above 100. After that, let other people handle, like, especially if you've got like a Lucio, let Lucio top people off. Let Lucio top the DPS off. Focus your healing then on the tanks and getting as much of them picked back up as possible, because you can just do it so efficiently. And if Genji's bouncing around all over the place and you're having a hard time healing him, just heal the fucking Roadhog who's standing still killing people and not dying and drawing a ton of fire, but he's not going anywhere and he's just going to kill people and pull attention. So that works out quite nicely. In general, rule of thumb is you want to be healing the tanks more, because you can just do it better. Like, no one can heal a tank as well as Ana, so Ana should be healing the tanks. You do want to be healing people when they're in a fight, but in general, prioritize tanks first. Absolutely prioritize your other healer as well. You just want to be a safety net for each other, so if focus starts going on them, then heal them back up. You can make it very hard for, like, if a Genji dives a Zenyatta, for example, you just keep healing the Zenyatta, it's very hard for the Zenyatta to die. And Zen will often then just kill whatever's harassing him, so that also works quite nicely. So I think I've covered it. Basically, focus tanks primarily. Don't be afraid to heal DPS though. Don't be afraid to heal DPS at long range, just in general. You are better at healing tanks. Don't be afraid to, if everyone's taking damage, don't be afraid to do a quick fix where you know that the Genji's going to be hard to hit, so just throw a grenade at him, get him some health, and then swap targets and just put heals on them. The important thing is to get everyone above that triage point where they're, under 100 hit points and can be one shot. Get them up and then start thinking, okay, I am going to heal you, and then you can put the Reinhardt on like 400 hit points, and then you can swap and pick the McCree back up and get him to full, so he can go and be proactive and go and do things, or get him to 180, for example, and then he can go and do things. Genji you can put on 100 and then kind of leave, because Genji can go and find a health pack, or go find the Lucio or the other healer. You can sort of plan around people doing things. It's like, who can actually do stuff right now? Okay, he can't. I need to heal all this very quickly. But if you're like thinking, should I put my grenade on all the DPS or all the tanks? Put it on all the tanks, because they just get more durability out of it. What is your favorite? Oh wait, quick scope. I kind of covered it. Quick scoping is basically when you pre-aim. It's not like, I don't know. I'm not sure if quick scoping is the right word for it. It's basically just pre-aiming with the scope. And just getting the scope, like the benefit of the scope shot. So, again, very basic. Non-scope, there's a delay. Travel time, it's a projectile. Scope shot, no delay, instant. Okay? Scope shot is more reliable, but you have the trade-off. You move slower, and it also reveals your location because it's a trace around. So people get to see where you are. If you are trying to heal a Genji at long range, like let's say that red fellow over there, actually these red fellows over here, let's say that that's our Genji, and we're trying to heal him at long range and he's taking damage. If we're doing that and then he moves, chances are we miss him. What we can do though is we can pre-aim, bring up the scope and fire. And the second you right click, you can pretty much immediately left click. There's a slight delay to it, a very slight delay, but just getting to the habit of doing that, you notice that the shot's already fired off before the scope's even finished coming up. And so you're getting the benefit of the shot, of the scope, but you're not using the scope. You're just using normal aim and then firing the scope shot. And it's very easy to do. And you can see how fast it is. Sometimes, like if I'm trying to spam it out, I don't know, it doesn't work. And it's not like super quick scopey, it's not anything fancy, it's not anything abnormal, but it's very effective. It's just a good way to get instant healing on something. And if someone's taking a lot of damage, this is a lot better than this, because there's a delay. And you don't want the delay, because in that delay, people can die. People dying is bad. Go figure. Change your background. Get Ana back. So that's quick scoping. That's at least what I mean by quick scoping. Just be aware that, like, don't do that for every shot, because when you come out of the scope, there is a slight delay. So you don't want to be doing that for every shot. Get our toast back. There we go. Yep. Best NS skin with golden gun? I like Horus. I think the colour scheme works great. She also just looks good in orange. Although the blue is pretty cool as well. I just got the orange one because I figured everyone will be getting the blue, so yeah. What is your favourite brand type of coffee? At the moment, I think I'm drinking Nescafe Gold brand. I do like Nescafe, actually. It's not bad. Like my favourite coffees are the ones I get from Costa. I actually really like Costa's coffee mix. Like if Costa are looking to sponsor esports or sponsor streamers, I would absolutely shill the fuck out of Costa. Costa, if you don't know, are basically a rival brand to Starbucks here in the UK, and I think they actually outsell Starbucks here in the UK, which is a rarity. And I like Costa's coffee. In the UK, we actually have a number of brands. We have like Starbucks, we have Costa, we have Cafe Nero. There might be one or two others as well. Otherwise, I do like Dow Egberts. Dow Egberts make good coffee as well. In terms of movement and constantly being active, how do you balance being fluid and maintaining accuracy and keeping up heals? It's just a matter of like what to prioritize at what time. So if you need to be accurate, then taking the time to stand still a little bit, and if you can afford to do it, like if you aren't being pressured by a Genji, like if you got a Genji chasing you, don't stand still. You can't afford to do that. But if you've got no one chasing you, then just taking a second to stand still, make sure you get that heal dart on your Genji so that he can do things, sure, do it. And just like know how to prioritize yourself, balance yourself out in terms of like, okay, I need to reposition over here to heal my tanks, then just focus on repositioning and spam some heals out that might not necessarily hit, but the ones that do, keeping people alive a little bit better. And then just stand still and just keep shooting out at them. Like, the worst thing you can do is just not be doing things and just like standing around and taking a moment to think. And that sounds weird because taking a moment to think is not necessarily awful, but you could be just being active during that time. Like we saw for ages that Torbjorn was just running back and forth without getting a heal on him. We had time to do it, just put the heal on him. We had time to check on our teammates, time to look around behind us, take a quick glance, look back, put some heals out, maybe one or two heal darts onto someone who might take damage. Like, we might just be pre-healing them, but it's still worth doing. If you're being chased by a Genji as Ana and your team just ignore that repeatedly, ignore that you repeatedly say that you're being chased and you miss your sleep dart, should you fight the Genji or should you just continue to heal your teammates? The best thing to do is to run into your teammates and put a grenade down. This happens a lot. Like, the thing with Genji versus Ana is like, let's pretend this is top down, right? The big top down circle. We are the Ana, again, triangle. Our team is over here. Let's make him a circle again, for consistency's sake. And then we've got the Genji coming in. Oh, that's black. We don't want black. Doesn't show up well. The Genji coming in over here, right? And he's chasing after us. When he dashes onto us, if we've taken the dash damage, we could maybe risk waiting for us to take a little bit more damage, so the grenade will heal up 100 health, so we effectively have 300 if we wait. The second that dash lands, I will be moving towards the team, and then, especially if there's like a Winston or a Reinhardt, go and stand next to them. And then if you take that damage, throw the grenade at your feet while the Genji is busy like trying to bounce around you. So during all this time, the Genji will be doing this and like trying to bounce over you. Try and get him with the anti-heal grenade while you're getting yourself, like absolutely heal yourself back up, and then get into your team. And when you're inside your team, people will notice the Genji. If you just stay back here and expect these people who might be fighting the enemy team that's also, you know, the actual enemy team that's like up here, and so they're busy fighting over here. If you expect them to peel off and come help you, not going to happen. Doesn't happen even at Grandmaster. Not happening. It's up to you to get to your team a little bit and sort of incentivize them and trick them into sort of getting back to it. So yeah, the best thing I know if you're getting really hounded by Genjis and Tracers is just find a Reinhardt and hug next to him, because when the Genji or Tracer comes in, the Reinhardt will just start swinging and get rid of him. You know, just get behind us. Just, you know, Reinhardt's a huge dude. You just want to tuck in under him. Cuddle up to him. Big snuggle bug. What you want. Stylosa once told me that ranked is going to rob me. I'm better off in quick play instead. Kappa, what do you think? I don't think Stylosa actually told you that. I think you've read memes on the internet. There are too many memes. Far too many memes. Say chips hard and correctly next time. My inner Swede just is a bit angry. Is it Chips Hagen? Is it Chips Hagen? I don't care. It's Chips Hagen. Chips Hagen. Chips Hagen. I'll say it really intensely and really Englishly. Chips Hagen. Overbuff it. I don't think it was overbuff with the graphs. Did you save your grenade for yourself if you get dove or use it on teammates? Use it on yourself, absolutely. Because if you're getting dove, they're literally on top of you half the time as well, so you can get them. So you're basically punishing their dive, which is good. I'm in bronze, and when I play Anna, everyone is split up and can't heal anyone. What do you do with Anna when that happens? I'm glad I caught this question. It's actually a really reasonable one. Try and position where you can catch the people that are really important for you to catch. So people like tanks, in particular, try and make sure that you are healing those guys. And if people are just running off on their own, that's their own fucking fault, to be honest. Like, if they're always just out in the enemy team, never in a position where you can heal them, then whatever. That's their problem. Just make sure that you're healing up the tanks as much as you can. Make sure that you are healing people. Like, don't stubbornly stand in the back of Numbani going, well, this is where I was told to stand, so I'm going to stand here. Because then you might as well be AFK, and you kind of are. So if your team is defending very aggressively, then you want to position somewhere where you can heal them still, but retreat and still have an angle to do that. So just try and find places where you can heal one or two people at the very least constantly. Otherwise, change to, yeah, Dak plays a lot of Lucio. There we go. So you can change to Zenyatta, for example, that could work a little bit better. Lucio would also work a little bit better. Mercy works okay in that situation, but it has the same problem, being honest. If you don't have people to bounce around to as Mercy, you're going to have an issue. Just try and make sure your position is even people up. You just said you don't need any skill to play Mercy. No, I did not say you do not need any skill to play Mercy. I said people at lower skill levels gravitate towards Mercy judging by the graphs. And I said that she has a lower skill requirement necessarily than Anna. Not that you don't need any skill to play Mercy. Let's not get hyperbolic here. Like, do not take something I say in terms of like, this is a character with a high skill cap, this is a character with a lower skill cap, and do not take from that this character requires no skill, because as Miro has shown us, Winston, who was widely regarded as the lower skill cap hero in the game, is actually fucking god tier in the hands of someone who can play him really well. So there's the skill caps for everyone. Is it still worth playing Anna when the team doesn't have any good options for Nanoboost? It's weaker. I would avoid it when possible. If you're in hero pick and you see that the team has no soldier, no Genji, even like no Roadhog as well, and you're just kind of going, well, who am I going to Nanoboost here really? Swap to something else. Like, there's no harm in it. Why are you using feet as measurement? I don't know. I played a lot of WoW is why, I think. If you sleep Orion, is it worth waking him up with an Anna nade? If your team can't position around him, then sure. Putting an Anna nade on him is a good idea in general. There's just no rush is the big thing. There's no rush in doing it, so just take your time, wait for someone to get into position. Yeah, and yeah, we do use both Imperial and Metric. Talking about accuracy, fundamentals question, does accuracy and aim matter to most heroes? Where does bad accuracy start to hold you back? It matters to almost every hero. Like, being the best at aiming in the world would mean that you will probably get right into Diamond pretty much instantly. Even if you have the worst decision making on the planet, the ability to kill someone else is extremely important in Overwatch. Like, it cannot be overstated that accuracy just makes everything easier. So if you are playing Soldier 76, right? Simplest example. If you're playing Soldier 76, and if you are more accurate than your enemy, and you're shooting at your enemy, and your enemy is shooting at you, and it's just a one-on-one, and he's more accurate than you, who wins? He wins. He hits more shots. It's that simple. And it's like, the better you are at aiming, the easier and easier and easier the game gets. And so it's one of those things that you should constantly be striving to improve and constantly trying to get better at. Aiming is like it's an FPS at the end of the game. At the end of the day. It's a first-person shooter. If you cannot shoot people, you want to avoid heroes that don't shoot, don't necessarily shoot people. And this is why like the all heroes factor comes into it. That you might have recently seen us in streaming where I've shouted at Ryan every now and then when he's playing Nucio and he's not hitting shots on people. And that's because to me, Nucio, you have to be landing at least body shots every now and then. Nucio is actually extremely good at finishing off targets. He's extremely good at finishing off targets. He doesn't do much damage, but if the enemy's on like 20 hit points, you can speed boost, hunt them down really aggressively, position aggressively around them, get an easy headshot or two, and clean them up, no problem. Nucio is very, very good at doing that, and in my mind, that is actually part of his jobs now, is getting those finishing blows, because he's so strong at doing it. Because he can reposition fast, because he can land hits now, and if you aren't doing that at close range, then you're fucking up. Of course, that isn't to say, like, jump into a Roadhog or jump into a McCree, but if it's a soldier who's trying to sprint away on 20 hit points and you have a speed boost, go kill him. Go get him. Just break off, land a couple of shots, break back in. And you can do that. You can afford to do that on Nucio. Mercy, for example, a hero that requires less aim. It's true, but she requires a lot of positioning, a lot of good judgment, a lot of sound judgment. On the Mercy. So yeah. If you're like me and you don't have patience, Mercy is not the hero for you. My Mercy is actually pretty abysmal. Don't just point up. A lot of people underestimate Mercy and requires, she says no skill. Yeah, because I never... Don't give me links now, it's not useful. As before, oh, is this... No. Anna is a better McCree. Yeah, kind of. Anna unscoped is a projectile, yes. Okay, Anna unscoped is a projectile, while scoped is hit scan. How much of a difference does it make projectile speed? It makes a difference. It does make a difference. Like, if Genji's jumping around and you're trying to heal him with projectiles, it's harder to do than healing with a hit scan. It's just harder. Why make your life more difficult on yourself? It's that simple. Like, hit scan is just easier to land. No, wait, scrolling. Scrolling. You would sell out for coffee? Absolutely. Ice cream flavors for different Anna skins? Not a clue. Starbucks is shit coffee? Kind of agree with that. If you're in Manchester, check out Moose Coffee. I will, next time I'm in Manchester. I used to live in Manchester. Literally opposite Manchester Piccadilly. There's a student house there, and I live... Literally, my window stared into Manchester Piccadilly station. Are there situations where you should save your sleep dart? It's something that I'm trying to work on, because I'm very spammy with it. Try and keep track of enemy ults, especially like Roadhogs, is important. And yeah, if like their Reinhardt is also looking to charge, you definitely want to be saving it for that, because if he charges into a sleep dart, then he just loses. So yeah, that's always good. Just try and keep track of the enemy ults as best you can, which is something that you should be developing as a support. I'd say, like, if you're not in gold or platinum, it's not a skill set that you should be focusing on, but just try and do it in the back of your mind. Try and get used to every 1.5 to 2 minutes, someone's gonna, like, that person's gonna have their ultimate available. As you get higher and higher and higher, and again, this is part of aim as well, is that the better you aim, the faster you generate ultimates, and ultimates then translate into teamfight wins, and then teamfight wins translate into game wins. So yeah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, like, try and just time it out in your mind. Oh, I haven't seen Roadhog use his ultimate in a while. Probably want to have a sleep dart for that. And then unless nothing better comes up, then just save it for that. Try and avoid spamming it. Chips Hyen. Chips Hyen is pronounced chips and bacon with gravy. How are we doing for time? I'll take 1 or 2 more questions. When do you pre-heal and when do you save ammo for an upcoming fight? Pre-healing is when you're just anticipating someone taking damage. So if Winston jumps in, just firing some heals onto him is really, really good. Just because people are going to shoot at him, and even with his bubble up, he's still going to take some damage, so it just makes it very hard for him to die. It gives you some ultimate charge, and if you have to reload as a result of that, it's just sort of knowing the balance of how early you've got to be providing that healing, and then going from that. If you find yourself constantly running out of ammo, then pre-heal less. And if you find yourself, like, people are dying, but you still have 3 bullets in your magazine, that's a problem, right? Then there's 3 heals that you didn't use, that you should be trying to use. An idea from your Overwatch. Many problems player has from quick play mentality of not being able to trust the team to do their job, so it's up to you. Thoughts? It echoes, I think it echoes a piece of advice I used to give out a lot, which is basically breaking things down into mini objectives. And actually, this is a really good point to finish on. So, like, the way I think about heroes is I think about them in terms of kits, and then I assign them mini objectives based on those kits. Okay, so let's look at some heroes. Let's take some very specific heroes. Actually, let's look at McCree. Right, what makes McCree McCree? Well, McCree has Flashbang, which is a good close range thing. He has the right click, Fan the Hammer, which is a good close range ability. He does decent damage at medium to close range, because his damage drop off means that he doesn't do it well at long range. He's hit scan, so he can deal with nippy things. So what does that make McCree good at? Well, okay, McCree is relatively good against tanks. He's better at sort of slowing tanks down and sticking them up a bit rather than outright killing them. He's not really the tank buster he used to be, but he's still okay at it. But he makes like life awkward for Reinhardt's. Like Reinhardt can't charge when McCree's around because he just gets flashbanged. He can't get too close to the McCree because he gets flashbanged. Roadhog can't get too close to McCree because he gets flashbanged. And stunned Roadhogs are bad. He does all that kind of stuff. So when I'm thinking about, okay, well, how do I play McCree? Well, I probably want to be near the front line because I want to be slowing down their tanks and exerting this control with my flashbang. But if they're playing heavy dive maybe and they're going really aggressive on my supports, I might want to hang out with my supports more. My supports should be hanging out with me because then if they dive on me, I can deal with the threats as they come in close and make sure that they're staying away at a distance where they are less effective and I'm still okay at medium range, so I can still do jobs there. What I'm not great at, perhaps, is like shooting Pharahs, because Pharah's generally at long range, and I'm not so great at that. So maybe I should be swapping to Soldier 76, for example, where I'm now better at long range, and I can deal with that long range threat better, but I'm not as I don't quite have the same volume of pressure on the tanks and stuff like that. What does this mean as the team comp as a whole? Okay? This means that if we have a Soldier 76 and a McCree, it's probably in the McCree's job to be dealing with the tanks that are just like running, like if the tanks are just running into your Reinhardt, it's probably McCree's job to be dealing with that. So as Soldier 76, it should not be my job then to be shelling bullets constantly into the Reinhardt barrier. That's more McCree's job. I should be looking for the Pharah because that's my job. And if I'm not doing my job and McCree suddenly is trying to shoot at the Pharah and shoot at the tanks, he's getting overwhelmed and he's trying to do two things at once and he's not really doing either. And this happens a lot when someone isn't pulling their weight in the team, is that you try and take over their job. And you try and sort of do everything at once. You're trying to fulfill the role that the soldier's trying to do by shooting at the Pharah and keeping the Pharah pinned back, but then the Reinhardt comes in, so the Reinhardt can do what he wants. So then you're trying to switch to that, so then Pharah comes in and does what she wants. But in that time that the Reinhardt's run in and shattered your barrier and the Roadhog's hooked someone, and the Pharah's now coming in, oh shit, I've got to shoot both of them, and I'm trying to do two things at once. Don't do that. Focus on doing your role, and then just say, you know, we might need a little bit more focus on the Pharah here and there. I'm keeping this Reinhardt in check and make sure that the tanks can't do anything, but can the Anna shoot the Pharah a bit more, or Soldier might need a hand with that, whatever. But don't try and do all the things at once, because that's the easiest way to lose, and that's the easiest way to get incredibly stressed as well. You'll notice this when I play Widowmaker a lot. This tends to happen because basically what ends up happening is I get 3 people diving on me, and so then there's like a Pharah also in the distance, and so I'm thinking like, okay, I am trying to pull this Pharah, Winston, Genji off to somewhere to try and keep them busy and try and survive as long as I can, try and make sure the supports aren't getting hunted down, our team has time to do stuff because I'm doing this. And I'm also trying to shoot the Pharah, and the Pharah is getting kills, and I'm just imagining my team's going, well, we have a Widowmaker, so surely the Pharah should be dead. And I'm trying to I get stressed because I'm trying to do, okay, I've got to shoot the Pharah, but I've also got to get past this Winston and Tracer, and I've got to get past the Genji, and I've got to do this, and I've got to get the supports as well, and I've got to make all this stuff happen, and I'm trying to aim, and I'm trying to stream at the same time. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Boom, my head explodes, and I go nuts. And that happens to people so often. And you'll notice that a lot of your losses, when you sit back and if you watch the VOD, it's usually people just not quite covering their entire role or covering their job or what you think might be their job. And you might have a wrong estimation of like, what is this person trying to achieve? What is this person trying to do? And that's where a lot of problems can come from. Hopefully, I don't know if that even answered the question, but I think that's a good place to stop on. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. Right. We'll do the giveaway in a second, but let me finish out here, because I think that is a good way of doing stuff. Okay. So, if you want your footage reviewed on Coaching the Many, of course, you can send it to the info that I think is just posted right there. You send it to oamreviews@gmail.com, including the title, the hero name, and the rank that it's played at. And yeah, you send that in, send in a link to the YouTube video, try and get it higher quality. Like you saw today that the video was a little bit low bitrate, and as such it was very muddy and hard to see. Higher bitrate the better. I usually don't take stream footage. I think that's lifted from a stream, which is part of the problem, but it's rare that I get footage that low. If you do have some low gameplay footage and don't mind being in public, go for it. Chat, hopefully, I've noticed that chat, was pretty well behaved and wasn't making fun. Hopefully the comments continue that. Hopefully the comments do continue that. Because the point is, like, this guy was brave, right? No one wants to show couple of hundred or a couple of thousand people then doing something badly. So hats off to you, sir, for sticking out all the way. Otherwise, yeah, definitely come by and watch it live as well, 10 p.m. British time on Friday and Saturday. We usually run for about an hour and a half. So today, ran for about an hour and a half. Feels pretty good. And yeah, it's good fun. And then we usually do some streaming afterwards as well, just to play some games, stuff like that. Yeah, otherwise, I look forward to see you then. Thank you for watching to the end. Toodles.